Mike and the Maddog, along with Charles McCord, here as we sit in to a program that cannot be filled by anybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not even an issue.
No.
I mean, it's not even an issue. You know, we were always very proud, Doug and I have been, that this station has had the same drive time for 18 years with the legendary Don Imus in the morning and his crew along with Charles, and then Doug and I in the afternoon. And, you know, that's the way it should have stayed. And here's another part of this that I really think is a missed opportunity, okay? You guys, and take it. But the point is that he could have, in his dialogue, just like he's done, and he's going to still be coarse and make fun of people because that's his humor. But the point is, he could have done more in his dialogue. Bringing this up in the dialogue, like he's done with autism and like he's done with all these different things. I mean, you go and take your kids into a pediatrician now, all they want to talk about is Imus. All they ever want to talk about is Imus and autism and this and that and what Deidre's done and Don's done. And it was a missed opportunity because this clearly, you can tell. I was in a restaurant Saturday night. This has polarized people. A lot of middle America, a lot of white America is incensed that I feel Don was railroaded. And then I know there's a distinct portion of black America that feels Don got what he deserved. But all it has done is polarized. This hasn't made things better. I think it's made things worse.
I agree. And I'll tell you, I'll give you a little story, Chuck. WFAN, just locally here in New York. All the advertisers bailed out last week who were mad that FAN, that Don was still here. They felt public pressure, so they bailed out.
Right.
And then when they actually fired him, all the guys who liked Imus were so ticked off, they bailed out too. So you got bailed out on both ends.
So
you got bailed out on the people who upset you fired them, and bailed out on the people upset originally.
And if you're keeping score, more left because Don was ousted than left because they were outraged.
The people who left for the outrage, they wanted things to cool down.
Right.
The people who left the other way were left because of anger. That's the difference. And you know, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, I was just going to, Mike just made a good point. He feels horrible about what he did, what he said, the mistake he made, and has said so time and again and apologized. You make a very good point, though. Because of the emotion he feels over what has happened here, who would have been better?
No one.
To lead if we're actually going to have a national conversation, and we'll see whether or not that does.
Which will not happen.
It will go away.
A month from now, will we still
the same people who are outraged, half of them have companies that are producing music that is 10 times worse.
And now Al Sharpton, after all these years, Al Sharpton today or in the future is going to start to concern themselves with the hip-hop culture and rap. Now he's going to do it. And, Al also said yesterday, when somebody brought up the Brawley thing, well, I paid damages on that. Hold on now. You don't pay damages with cash with what you did 20 years ago. You ruin those guys' lives with that situation. Cash does not make amends for ruin those lives.
But my point wasn't, Charles was just discussing it, Doug, is that Don would have been the perfect vehicle.
Absolutely.
Because who better with the kind of show he did, and really, and Pat Buchanan made this point the other day, it is a unique show because Don went after the leaders, the powers, and the Washington media, government, senators, politicians, presidential candidates, and went after them in a very different way than you ever saw them.
Certainly. And
they had a different conversation with Don than they had it anywhere else. You got to see a different side of them.
You got to see a lot. The picture that was able to be painted of these people became a lot better filled in because of Don Imus and his extraordinary abilities to interview people and to draw out the interior person.
And I know those young ladies said to Don the other day, "Can you help us? We have a message. Can you help us?" And he said, "Not now."
Certainly could have.
And he could have.
Yes.
He could have.
And particularly driven by the fact that he genuinely is sorry. He is genuinely sorry.
Okay,
I've watched this guy for 35 years.
I'll play devil's advocate.
Let me just finish my point. And he wants to make amends and will. And with that, in that context, who could possibly have been better? We have seen this guy historically, what he has been able to do with more causes than you can count, and I know of how many that you never even heard about.
But how about the devil? I'll play devil's advocate. Didn't he apologize to Clarence Page the Chicago Tribune guy in 2000?
Yeah,
because everybody's made a big deal about, he apologized in 2000. Look now, same thing happened. What would you say to that?
Well, I would say because
I don't remember that. Nor did Mike. I don't remember that whole thing with the Chicago Tribune.
I don't know what month that was, Charles. Maybe we were on vacation or out of town. I don't remember that whole. I'm a listener. Dog's a listener. I don't remember that whole thing. I never even knew about that.
It was no huge deal, but I mean, something had been said. I can't even remember the incident that provoked it.
Everybody's been bringing that up. As when we gave him a chance 7 years ago, now look, it happened. I wasn't aware that was that big a deal.
Another thing that has one aspect of this that has disturbed me, and considerably so, is when you hear people talking about this pattern of behavior and how, he has always done
That's
this.
Not true.
It is absolutely untrue.
And then they quote
it has left the impression, though, that this has been a steady drumbeat. The foundation, the thump of the Imus in the Morning program, and it never was. I mean, it just is wrong.
And this idea, as someone said, he targeted the wrong people. He didn't target anybody. He didn't even know that team existed. He saw a piece of tape come in front of his eyes because they played a national championship game, and he made a stupid comment.
Exactly.
And he made and he was comparing how one team looked to the other team looked, and he made a ridiculously bad comment and a nasty comment that he has apologized for 1,000 times. So I don't have to sit there and apologize for it. But the idea that he targeted anybody was ridiculous. He saw a piece of video come in front of his eyes.
I think the fact that college girls.
I agree with all that.
That's what it was.
And they are wonderful, accomplished women who have handled themselves brilliantly.
Those 10 girls did a magnificent job. Those
wonderful.
10 girls
deserve
did a great job.
None of this.
None of it. And deserved to be helped in any way that they wanted to be helped, and lifted up, helped, healed, whatever they needed, and they're still going to get that.
And deserved to be held in the highest regard.
I agree.
These are astonishing individuals.
And what those young ladies don't realize, maybe they do now, and I know that they suffered hurt.
When the whole thing is finished, they would benefit from this more than anything else.
I think what they did is they opened a lot of people's eyes. I know they opened mine. In that they distinguished themselves, and they were so exceptional in their approach. And I was amazed at how polished they were. And I was amazed at how wonderful they handled everything and gracious they were, that I thought they distinguished themselves unbelievably. I didn't know anything about them.
The degree of maturity was startling.
And let's be fair. I mean, the big picture, too. Rutgers, from a whole stamp, they will benefit this tenfold. Front page of the New York Times, front page of the magazines, Oprah, Brian Williams. I know it's hard to look at that from right now. When it all said and done, this did not hurt Rutgers recruiting. This immeasurably helped. Not everybody knows who Rutgers is.
I think there is a serious problem from the standpoint that I think this has, without any question in my mind, enormously polarized people. Enormous. I could tell that just from the reaction of people who I've bumped into. Or I sat in a restaurant that was very crowded the other night, and I can't tell you how many people came up to the table to say something to me about this. I mean, usually people come over, say hello, a couple people here and there. So many people went out of their way, and so many people who don't even, they don't even talk about sports or wouldn't even make a comment, who came over and wanted to discuss this and make their feelings felt about this, that I feel like a great opportunity, a great awareness was there, and a great opportunity was missed, because he would have done a great job at leading this discourse. I don't think there's any question.
Well, not with the way it has captured the attention of this country. I think you're absolutely right.
Mike and the Mad Dog, we will come back. Don't go away.
You're listening to Mike and the Mad Dog on Sports Radio 66 WFAN.